watching my video today. I'm going to ask you an interesting question. There's some things I've seen on Facebook as of late. As you know, I have been off of Facebook for 4 years. And I have been diving into Facebook the last few months, been scrolling, doing some crazy stuff, trying to figure out what the heck is going on because I want to understand human behavior. And I got back on to celebrate the 20th wedding anniversary of myself and my wife, so I'm actually pretty psyched and pretty happy about that. But I've seen some interesting things lately with regard to some stuff on Facebook. I've seen different people advertising, different people promoting their services, and some of these people are saying marriage counseling doesn't work. Wait a second. Really? I mean, I went to marriage counseling and it worked. You know, I'm a marriage counselor and I've seen some good results from people. So what the heck is going on here? Like, how are these people saying that marriage counseling doesn't work? In fact, some of them are even marriage counselors themselves. And they're out there saying, oh yeah, this doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? It got me thinking, got me really thinking. Maybe there's reasons why marriage counseling doesn't work. So I decided to kind of dive in, figure it out, and sort of try to understand this a little bit better. And I came up with some reasons. I got 5 reasons why marriage counseling may not work. So let's jump right into it. Reason number 1 why marriage counseling may not work is that someone already has their foot out the door. Now, I have seen this in my office. I've seen people come in and they're ready to go. Okay? This is marriage counseling for them is just another stop on the way to divorce. They've already got their lawyer. They've already got their divorce papers drawn up. They just feel like they need to check this box off in order for them to continue on their path of divorce. And it's kind of crazy when you think about it because it's kind of like you're coming into marriage counseling so that you can file for divorce. It just seems really odd, but that's literally what some people do. They're done, they're ready to be out of the relationship, and they don't want anything more to do with it. So they go and they say, you know what, I'm just here to kind of make this work. And you can kind of tell. Usually when people walk in, I can kind of tell if somebody's already on their way out. So that's one reason why marriage counseling doesn't work. Second reason why marriage counseling doesn't work is that someone wants a therapist to team up with them against their spouse. This is like if you've ever watched like WWE where there's a wrestling match, right? And the special guest referee is like a bad guy, right? And he teams up with the other bad guy and beats on the good guy. This is the kind of stuff that's going on in some of these sessions, okay? These people are like, hey, I want you to be on my team because this person's a bad person. So they'll try and engage with the therapist, trying to get them to sort of team up on this other person. Meanwhile, this other person doesn't want to be there and knows they're going to get ganged up on. And this is pretty much what they expected was going to happen. They were going to get ganged up on, and they likely aren't going to marriage counseling ever again because the way it turned out was exactly the way they thought it was going to be. All right? So this is another reason why marriage counseling doesn't work is because it's not a fair and balanced approach to therapy. And some therapists jump on board, especially in cases of cheating. There's definitely like, oh, wow, that's really bad. You shouldn't be doing that. We need to beat up on you for that. And yeah, that there is some of that, but cheating again is I find a symptom of a bigger problem, a bigger communication problem. I can dive into that in another video, perhaps. Reason number 3 why marriage counseling may not work is the therapist has their own agenda, and they have no problem with marriages breaking apart. I've seen this with some counselors that I work with. They're just kind of like, it's not my job to make sure that their marriage stays together. It's their job, and maybe some of that's true. But at the same time, if they're coming in, they want to make their relationship work, they're coming into marriage counseling proper, then isn't it your responsibility, isn't it your job to try to help them make it work? I mean, obviously, you're with them 45 minutes out of a whole week, but I feel like it's my responsibility to try and at least encourage them towards that goal of making their relationship work. But I've seen some counselors who just have their own, whether it's a political agenda, a religious agenda, whatever it is, and they're just kind of like, no, they're better off alone. They're better off on their own. They need to trade up, find somebody else. It's more convenient to go find somebody else. You can always just trade up. It's like an old computer or an old cell phone. You just go to the cell phone store and trade and get another one, right? And so that's kind of where I see a possibility where marriage counseling doesn't work there. Reason number 4 why marriage counseling may not work is the therapist lets the couple argue in session. I've seen this so many times. I've had couples come in, they start arguing, and they start throwing down right there in my office. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? And I'll say to them, look, guys, hey, time out. I can sit here and watch you guys argue and just take notes, and I'll totally get paid. Okay, but that's not really what I'm here for. I want to help you guys through your communication problems, but you've got to take a deep breath, calm down, and take turns here. Okay, but people will literally argue in session, and sometimes it's kind of unnerving when people start yelling at each other or they get really aggressive. They start calling each other names. It's rough. All right, so it's like, whoa, maybe I don't want to interject right now. Maybe I'm just going to let them kind of have it out because maybe they need to do this. But generally speaking, as a therapist, I try to challenge and encourage my clients. No, you have to develop good communication patterns. We have to work on that. All right, reason number 5 why marriage counseling may not work is that people come in with the wrong attitude. All right, they are more concerned with themselves than they are about the relationship. They're like, well, my happiness is the most important thing in the world, and it absolutely paramounts and trumps every possible thing that I could possibly get out of the marriage. Okay, and the problem is that they look at the other person as the sort of element that's responsible for their happiness. Okay, so because they're not looking within themselves to try and make themselves happy, they're looking at their spouse as the reason or the catalyst for their happiness. If that person fails and falls through, they're going to blame them. It's their fault why I'm not happy. Wait a minute, like, aren't you responsible for your own happiness to some degree? Like, isn't that part of this? And so that could be another reason why marriage counseling doesn't work. Now, I have 3 ways you can pick a good marriage counselor. All right? Number 1, a good marriage counselor will triage the presenting problem, the problem that is brought to the session day 1. Okay? And this is what I do. And look, this isn't promotion. This is, look, you go find a good marriage counselor for yourself, please. I strongly encourage people, if you're trying to go through this kind of thing and you feel like it's a good time to do that, definitely go out there and find somebody. But this is more me trying to help you through it. So, triage the problem in session. Okay, and what that means is that the marriage counselor will go and try to say, okay, what are you struggling with? You might have been struggling with this for a month, weeks, who knows? And if you can triage that problem, it's a wonderful thing. I've found that if I can just throw a couple of tools at people, okay, right out of the gate, what ends up happening is that they take action on those things, and all of a sudden things start getting better. Before you know it, I'm terminating with them. I'm like, okay, you guys are good, right? Like, we're struggling to find things to talk about in session. Okay, so that for me, that's more valuable to me than like sitting there and sticking it out with them long periods of time. If I can throw at them problems that are going to help triage the problem they come in with, then it's so much better. All right, number 2, a good marriage counselor will challenge both people, even if the one person's clearly at fault. And this is the case in cheating or what have you. All right, a good marriage counselor will challenge both people and say, look, where are each of you negatively impacting the relationship? And a good marriage counselor will also say, what good things do each of you bring to the relationship? Or what does your spouse bring to the relationship that's a good thing? So you want to challenge them. You want to encourage them, or at least I try to anyway. A good marriage counselor will try to go out there and bring their strengths to the table, but challenge them and encourage them to change. All right, and number 3, a good marriage counselor will give both sides the chance to talk and set appropriate boundaries for communication. Getting back to the people who are arguing in session, I usually encourage them to say, look, we have to take turns, we have to set boundaries here. So if you're looking for a good marriage counselor will do those 3 things. They will triage the presenting problem, they will challenge both sides to improve, and they will set good boundaries for communication going forward. Now, if you decide that you are interested in working with me on some of my stuff that I teach with couples, you can go to dynamicmarriagesolutions.com. I offer a marriage class, marriage coaching there. Go ahead and check it out. I've got some information up there as well. And if you like this video, feel free to throw a comment down there. Tell me what you thought about all this stuff. I'd really appreciate it. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you later.